This is the place where I landed on October the 4th, 1967, in a small propeller plane making its combat landing. And I bounced, shaken up slightly by the experience, and I was met at the strip by this strip, right here, right at this strip, right here, somewhere along this strip. I was met by Captain Strong and Lieutenant Downs and a third person whom I don't remember now, probably a driver. And they said to me, "You can come now, but you know, you're an extra captain and we don't need you now, and so we're going to send you someplace." And I said, I didn't go through that. I didn't go through that for any reason other than to be in the CAF. And that's it. I'm staying. You find a space. I don't know where the courage came from. I knew enough about rank and position. And then when the firing started, the artillery fire, and Tom Downs, I've told the story so many times, but it just so, and he tells the story all the time. Tom Downs tells the story all the time. He says, you know, the first words out of your mouth, he said, was that incoming or outgoing? And he said, I cowered, like I sort of put my hand up over my head. It was going to be like rain, and if I somehow put my hand up, if it was an incoming artillery shell, it would make a difference. And he was a grizzled veteran of perhaps 2 months by that time, and you learn pretty quickly about what the life is really like, about what's dangerous and what's not, what people consider dangerous and what's not, what they value, how the lifestyle would go, the rhythm of the day. It was a lot like work, except people were trying to kill you. And we lived in hooches among our members of our own unit. I had a great affection for the men who worked for me. And of course, now I think of the two of them who worked for me in counterintelligence, who died at the Khe Vietnam in late February during the Tet Offensive from artillery fire from North Vietnam. I had already been separated from the unit and taken up to Elsie Evans by chopper to take over the order of battle section. And so technically they weren't my subordinates anymore, but they were and are and always will be my men. Richie Frasca was 25 years old, one of the oldest guys. He was a graduate of Adelphi. He was in Garden City, Long Island. And he was so funny, they called him Richie. They called him what he called himself, Richie from the rear. He was making jokes all the time. A really nice kid.
And where were they when they fell?
When they
died.
They were at the Khe Vietnam, which is just south of the DMZ. When I showed up here, and then when we moved to the DMZ, we were stopped. We took a boat driven by Filipinos, or operated by Filipinos, transport warship with a flat bottom from Quy Nhon, which is right where we came from, to Da Nang. And when we got off the boat, we got on trucks to get ready to drive up to Elsie Evans, the Tet Offensive happened right there. We were attacked that night, January 30th, 31st, in Da Nang. And we were stuck there indefinitely because the VC blew the road every night and we could never get out to get north. So on February the 12th, I was called to go up north. And someone else sort of took over the eyeballing of my men. Then I got the order of battle job, which wasn't my first choice. And so Captain Pete Finland took over the counterintelligence unit, and he was there with those guys, or in the vicinity of those guys when they were killed. What happened was they took Navy boats up to the DMZ area, went across the waterway right by the 17th parallel, and which terminates in part at the Khe Viet, or Khe Viet. I've heard it pronounced both ways. And they got out to get into trucks to come south to LZ Evans as opposed to coming north the way I did on a helicopter. And they were hit by heavy artillery from North Vietnam. And I got it. I got the information on like a telegram, a Twix they called it. And when I got the message in my tent, in the order battle tent, it fell out of my hand. It was like a movie. I read that they had been killed, and it just fell right out of my hand. And I just sat there stunned. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, really, really nice guys. Roy Robinson, Robbie we called him, was the head of the motor pool. Well, essentially our little motor pool. His mom was a professor. We really cared for him greatly. And he was the one who taught me how to drive a gear shift car in the oiled roads of Khe, because I was an agent. I was entitled to drive a car. And since we were all so close, regardless of what our specialty was, I thought of him as one of my guys, and he thought of us as his guys. And in particular, one